Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of The Aftermath. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Dylan.
Yo.
And we did the rituals and the correct summoning processes.
Right, we got
the rains. We got we got a clear weekend or a clear schedule for the next day.
Got a couple snacks.
Right. I did all the things, and guess what? We summoned Chase, and he's here.
The creature.
We locked him down.
I ended up with 4 rains at my house out of this.
Yes. And that was all. And again, you have to pay the toll to get him
The troll.
to stay to get the troll, and he's here. You're not a troll, Chase, and I
Right,
love
you're
you.
more of a goblin, I'd say. You
What is
strike
the-
me as a bit of a hobgoblin.
What is the the goblin we
The
created?
descriptor gremlin.
The descriptor gremlin. Rain. Cool cars. Oh man, the jet planes, motorcycles. Home Depot.
Oh no, not the Home Depot.
Don't do that to me.
To the job.
Hey, whoa, slow down, buddy. Damn.
I mean, it's not dead end.
Where's the gold?
Where's the
I'm
gold?
sure it feels that way for him right now. He does just about every fucking thing in the store. If he leaves, that store's going under. That's not an exaggeration. That's just the fact.
Yeah. The business is held on his shoulders.
Right. His official position is OFA, but it really should be just pillar.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah. What do they call it?
Commandant of the store.
What do they call that in an arch? The rock that holds the arch together. The keystone.
yeah.
You're just the keystone. You're just holding this whole arch up, bud.
Right.
I mean,
The second you're gone, the whole thing's crumbling down.
Sisyphus.
actually, believe it or not,
It's almost up the hill, bro.
I did hear somebody tell me while I was going on vacation, they got like 3 people to do my job while I was gone.
Hell
so
yeah. Sometimes that
He's got
feels.
the strength of 3 men.
Sometimes that doesn't. Sometimes I've been in a similar situation, and that kind of feels good.
Yeah.
I mean, not
Like,
totally,
I'm
because
so
I do feel like
happy to know that you guys are suffering without me.
because it balances out where it's like both. I feel like I'm kind of being overworked, right? You know, and I kind of stretched thin, but at the same time, I'm also like, but you know what?
Fuck them.
I no. Is it no?
I'm kidding.
I'm that valuable, and I'm working that hard that if I leave, 3 people have to step up to do all the shit that I
Right,
do,
take
and
on
that
my workload.
and that feels. I don't know. Again, this just maybe it's just a guy thing, but for me, I'm like, you know what?
Strokes my ego real good.
Exactly. I'm like, you know what? I'm doing a pretty good job. But at the same time, I'm also like, damn, I need a break.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Not to mention, I had to get stuff down with the forklift and all
Oh,
that for
God, yeah.
a bunch of different people.
How many machines do you operate, Chase? You got a forklift, you got a reach truck.
I got something called the OP that lifts you up
The
there.
overpowered.
yeah. No, that's just him. He's just
Right. Who do you think I was talking about?
So pretty much can drive anything in there.
awesome.
Damn.
Yeah.
Jack
But-
of all trades.
but yes.
Chase of all chases.
Yes.
The as we have said before, Chase is the same throughout all universes.
Right.
So
Oh, yeah.
no matter in what universe,
Chase
it's always
is the only
Chase.
constant.
Chase is the only constant
that's the
throughout
fucking-
all the timelines. I don't care who you are, where you are. Chase is always Chase.
That's hilarious.
And,
Chase, you should play Cagliostro when you get relink. She's got a trophy
Hell
that
yeah.
says change is the only constant. If at all possible, I will figure out a way to mod it to where it says
Chase is the only
Oh, that
constant.
would be funny.
Right.
That would be great. But again, because Chase is an anomaly that just
Right.
passes between
Yes.
all dimensions and all
Keter
times.
level, a threat.
A Keter level threat. He is hard to hold down.
Right.
And so we have to have all the right conditions to hold him and bind him in one location for a set amount of time. And then once that time is up, he
Right.
then goes
You
back.
can't see it and we can't see it, but he is
Right.
physically chained down into this chair.
You can tell when you're running out of time because then he'll stand up and go, well, I guess it's time for me to leave. Right. Oh, shit,
It's
we're running
his
out
word
of time.
Power as well.
Yeah, well, and then once he stands up,
the old dusty
and sometimes he has actually done that. He stood up, said that, and I wasn't fully paying attention, and he was gone
Right.
before I had the chance to even say goodbye or even mentally process what happened.
Right. The chase giveth and the chase taketh away.
Yeah. Usually his presence is what gets taken away.
Don't worry, I'm able to do the same thing with my parents.
There you go. Hey,
You take away your parents.
No,
just the time with them.
No, I'll be in there and they'll be like, where'd he go?
Yeah.
I'll audibly hear, where'd he go?
He's gone.
As he's passing through dimensions, he just hears a faint, "Where did Chase go?" And it's like, yep,
He's like,
he's
"Oh."
gone.
Yep.
Well, damn, there he went.
I've been caught.
But we were able
Parents
to.
are the only ones able to track you.
Yeah, they
Not
have a
even them.
device that was crafted.
The chaseometer.
Oh, only for a brief amount of time.
Yeah. Only whenever I allow my location.
Yes.
Every time you purchase a rain, it gets a little blip.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the
yeah.
alien's motion tracker.
Oh, no, you have to consume it. Once you consume it, you actually get a sense of like the location of him, but it's only briefly.
Oh god.
Would you like to turn on location? No.
No.
No thanks.
No, he can't know where I am.
Right.
But this episode, I think, has been in the making for a while.
Dude, where the fuck have you been?
Well, well, in his defense, if I may, I don't want to speak for you, please.
That's fine.
Yeah, Chase,
I mean,
you're on a
I'm kind of curious.
podcast.
I mean, I'm kind of curious as to what you're going to say, anyways.
A lot of times, again, obviously, you have to be up for work early the next morning,
Yeah.
and we usually do this podcast, kind of in the
Right.
afternoons,
Yeah.
because we all work different shifts and different times and things. So to lock down all of our schedules is like trying to get the planets to align.
Right.
Yep.
A lot of times, and so
That's the boulder rolling down the hill.
yeah, exactly. So a lot of times we plan hangouts, but then sometimes whenever the podcast comes around, because Dylan and I, usually live together, it's a little bit easier to kind of nail down when we're going to record. But sometimes trying to get a guest on involves a little more planning, and it hasn't really worked out.
No, not
a
really.
whole lot. But
Not this time.
not this time. Like I said, we did all the rites, we did all the rituals, and
Everything we
and
needed
we're
to.
here.
Wait, where is that boulder?
It's at the bottom.
Oh,
of the hill.
it's rolling fast.
Oh, okay. Well, you
You
said it's
gotta
rolling.
catch
I
it.
don't want it to hit me.
No, it's okay. If you do get hit, I mean, it's not going to do anything. You're just going to be standing there. There's going to be a U-shaped hole in the boulder.
I think it's just going to hit you with a wave of nostalgia. Anytime you have that melancholy sadness of nostalgia,
Yep.
the boulder has rolled rolled through you. And you're
I
like,
see.
oh,
So,
shit, I'm
The
old.
time boulder.
Yeah.
so that boulder
Has
hit me
hit-
at 6 this morning. then.
Oh, shit.
Sorry. So yeah, it's flown past you at that point now.
Some motherfucker out there really named their child Sissy Fuss.
Excuse me?
The boulder analogy,
Yeah,
Sisyphus.
Oh.
doomed,
That's the joke.
doomed to forever roll the boulder up the hill.
I see. Yes.
I think
One
I
must
think the
imagine Sisyphus happy.
I think the story goes, if I'm not mistaken, whenever he gets to the top, it always rolls back down. Yeah, so he is doomed to forever roll the boulder up the hill and try and keep it there, but it keeps rolling back down.
Right.
Just like who else? Who's the one that's strapped to the tree?
Prometheus.
Prometheus.
See, whenever you
Doomed
said that,
to forever get his organs
pecked out by a bird.
By a bird
Oh,
every day.
God.
Just to have them regrow back.
yeah,
and then,
that sounds horrible.
Gross.
See, whenever you said that,
Gross.
I thought you were saying you
Yui.
read somewhere in a newspaper somebody actually named their kid Sissy
No,
Fuss,
it's just a play on it.
and I was about to say, okay, they needed to change their parents.
They need to change their parents.
Yes.
Yeah,
Chase,
yeah,
not
yeah.
everybody can do what you do, okay?
Yeah.
Are they trying? I don't think they're trying hard enough.
Jesus Christ.
Have you ever heard of some?
Oh,
ever heard like a
Maybe you should just try harder. I don't know.
a millionaire who was like born into money
God,
talk
the
about
lap of luxury.
It was like talk
Instead
about
of the
normal
silver
people
spoon,
problems.
Chase had the ethereal spoon.
That's what I'm saying. It's like have you ever like the stories of like gods trying to understand the problems of mortals,
Right.
or like millionaires trying to understand the
Exactly.
poverty-stricken person? Same thing. I just don't think they're trying hard enough.
Yeah. Why don't they
Chase-
just not do that?
Just buy another.
just simply rise above your means.
It's so easy.
It's so easy.
I was born that way.
Watch.
He just throws a stack of bills at something.
Yeah, right.
You could have changed the voice recorder.
I was gonna
for
try to, but I hit the wrong button. I'm
damn.
just gonna go with it.
Yeah.
Anyways, he just rises up and actually floats above the table. Anyways, we're getting off track here.
Right.
The
Chase, you're
main-
bring out the best / worst in us.
Yes, and I love it. I feel like the last couple episodes you've been on, you've been quiet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, he
so-
just doesn't talk.
That's okay.
You're on
I
a
know.
podcast, bro. Use your words.
I'm a ghost.
No, you're not.
use your words like you're talking to a child. And he's like, what do you
Sorry,
mean?
use your English words. We can't understand,
Yeah.
Chase.
Ooh, gaga.
No, stop that.
Ooh, gaga.
Gooby gibber flibber womp. Smeckle tickle zippy zap.
Oh gosh.
Gawunga fawunga bawigga womp.
Oh god.
All right, you got
All right,
that?
You got that? Translate that for me, please.
I think Dylan's more of the baby than me.
No, shut up. That means what that meant was we watched The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yes.
A Western.
I'm going to need a translator.
A good old-fashioned Western.
Mm-hmm.
This movie was released in 1966.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think it takes place in like the 1890s, I believe, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of during the Civil War,
Yeah.
which I believe is kind of in that time period.
Mm-hmm.
I have I've never seen a whole lot of Western movies. I haven't seen the large repertoire of
the big
Clint
names.
of Clint Eastwood movies.
Mm-hmm. Of which there are many.
Exactly. We watched Kelly's Heroes.
Yeah. Funny enough, that's another treasure hunt adventure that he ends up.
Yeah, which I think is I thought was a really cool movie, very interesting. Lot of cool characters.
It's the World War II one, huh?
Yes.
I think I saw that one a long time ago.
It's one of my favorites.
It was a really good film. I enjoyed it a lot. Cool
good.
cast of characters, and it was it had some weird moments in it, but obviously it was it was kind of one of those older films, and I think it just kind of translated weird, from my eyes.
My special eye.
My modern day eyes. But I will say, which is funny because this movie is rated R, and I was like, as far as R-rated movies go, I was like pretty tame.
Right.
Not a lot
Compared
of,
to today's, like, wow.
like they even kind of censored out some foul language. I think the most foul language was all in Spanish at the beginning of the movie. Not a whole lot of blood. I mean, maybe there was a little bit, but like not a whole bunch. But like, it's like you're saying, interesting compared to modern day films.
Because I mean, you can do a lot with today's tech.
Oh yeah,
like full on dismemberment, and that's not to say you couldn't do it with practical effects, but it wasn't as it's not
nothing
nearly as
beats
prevalent.
the Thing.
Oh
God.
Yep.
But what I will say is that I have some things to say about this film. But I will say my overall consensus of the film, now having watched the whole thing from beginning to end, I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
It was fun, and I get why it is a beloved movie, and a classic, and obviously why Clint Eastwood is as well known and famous as he is.
He's him.
He's him. 100%. At the beginning, though, of this movie, he was not him. It was not him, I think.
Wasn't feeling it at the very beginning.
It was more so the fact that I think personally. So at first we saw like the credit sequence, and then we also got like the introduction of like the ugly, the bad, and the good, and we got like the kind of intro sequences of like what makes them who they are.
Right.
And I think because I wasn't locked in fully of what was happening,
So all we had to do was tell you to lock in.
yeah, you're right. You gotta tell me to lock
that lean
in.
on, bro.
I didn't get locked in until after like the intro sequence. But because like the ugly character was introduced first, and I don't think I got a good look at him or like
Right. It was pretty quick.
and so I didn't fully click who that was yet. But then I obviously know what Clint Eastwood looks like.
Of course.
And obviously, I think like the guy, what's his name, Lee Van Cleef, who plays Angel Eyes, or the bad, quote unquote, bad character,
Right.
he was a little bit more, I think, interesting looking. He was more diverse, I think, from some of the other cast members, and I think his mustache was a little more. Right, and I think he just had that look about him, and he also had like a specific black hat, which I think was kind of different from all the rest of them.
Yeah.
So I was able to pick out those, the good and the bad, but not really associate the ugly very well. So there's like a pretty large sequence of, we get a little bit of introduction of the story of the ugly character. We get I think a little bit larger introduction of the quote unquote bad character, where like we kind of get to see like he is a ruthless kind of like, you know,
Right.
I get paid.
Gun.
I get paid for a job, and I do what I got to do.
Doesn't hesitate to kill men with families or their children.
Exactly, and it's
Yeah.
like okay, so like and I know who that is, and then we get the good, which is Clint Eastwood's character, and then I thought that this kind of like, plucky companion that he has for a brief time. Whenever he like leaves him out in the desert, I thought that was the end of his story.
Right.
I didn't associate the fact that that was the ugly character.
Yep.
So whenever I thought this random side character
just keeps showing up.
he
Like,
not
what the
not
fuck?
not
Where's
only
this
does
guy
it
coming
not
from?
only does it keep showing up, but like we're spending a lot of time developing this no name character because we don't get any names.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, so we're trying to. This is like the quote unquote introduction of our good character, and I thought that by leaving him in the desert, that was the like culmination of now we're gonna meet the ugly character again, and we're all gonna come together
He was
as
sitting
like
there
this
all
like
right, where's ugly?
well, a little bit because so the ugly character is he's wanted for a laundry list of bad deeds.
$2,000.
And I think it's kind of a rotation that both the good and the ugly do. That the
They
good
got a little dynamic duo
exactly
going.
the good shows up, turns him in, collects the money, and then of course before
At
he
the
gets
last second.
right before he gets hung, he ends up helping him out.
Oh yeah. And that's how they've been making their getaways.
Right.
With all that extra dosh.
And but then at a certain point,
And the good decides that the partnership just ain't viable.
he's like, you know what? I'm just I don't think you're going to be worth more than $3,000.
Yep.
And I think we're going to go ahead and I'm going to cut my losses here.
Right.
And then tries to, you know,
Just leaves him out
Just
in the
leaves him.
desert.
and he obviously gets pissed off and then
Right.
tries to enact revenge and some shit happens. And I get why I get now why they play into some of the decisions they made.
Right.
But I would have liked a little bit more clarity as to who they were, even just like a name, just like that was introduced at the beginning, just so I could help lock in a little bit more. Because I think now that I watch it a second time, and I think I'll understand it better. But having fresh eyes, that was confusing for me.
Yeah.
Because we then all of a sudden, who I feel like is our main character, Clint Eastwood, is now relegated as a side character to whoever this no-name person is for like a large portion of like what I would consider the first act of the film.
Yeah.
I was like, we're supposed to be building up like how I'm supposed to like this good guy character, and I feel like
He
I'm
remains very mysterious throughout the entire film. Like, we get nothing on this guy.
which again, the things he does do, I'm like, okay, I would consider that the good action. So, which I'm not opposed to him being a mysterious good guy,
Right.
but like, also the fact that like the ugly character like is a bit obnoxious
Oh yeah, real
with like because he likes
salt
to
of the earth type shit.
he likes to rub it in a little bit,
Yeah.
which again for his character, looking back retrospectively, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the moment, I'm like, you know, Clint Eastwood's or you know the good guy character is in a hotel room and some bad guys try to show up. He blasts all three of them, no problem.
Right.
And then of course gets like quote unquote caught off guard by the ugly character behind him.
Which he finds him by tracking his little campsites with his
Yes.
cigarette butts.
Yeah, his cigar butts.
Oh man.
And then again, I was just like I was thrown off a little bit because I was like,
Yeah.
I understand why you want to go for revenge, but at the same time, like, oh, all right. Whenever I'm like, oh my god! It was so like the fact that like the ugly character straight up robs a firearms store.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, I know that like it's probably bad to murder somebody, but like even in a Western, I'm pretty sure you can talk nicely enough to the sheriff to be like, hey, if any kind of phony, suspicious ass activity is going to happen in this store, I just want you to know I'm going to protect myself at all means possible. and I'll hook you guys up with guns. How does that sound to you? Like you gotta imagine that's gotta be like a thing or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the gun store owner's not gonna kill people just willy nilly.
Right.
But like if for some reason, I don't know, a random cowpoke who is who is stealing your booze,
wanted man.
a wanted man,
And then
is
proceeded
gonna
to
come.
also mismatch parts.
Not mismatched, dude. That dude makes
or-
a new like hybrid revolver.
Right. And
Well-
again, that's fine, especially if he's going to some sort of deal is going to get broken. Like, but the fact that like, not only does he, I mean, if we're being honest here and the guy is just like, I'm not going to start anything.
Right.
I'm just gonna,
He's a pretty old feller.
I'm just going to,
Yeah.
I'm going to let
Doesn't
this,
seem the type.
I'm going to let this play out. That's fine.
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and antagonize you to like, I'm not going to stop you. But if you're going to, let's go ahead and tally it up. Steal my hat, mangle up my guns and steal that, and also try and steal a case of bullets. And then also, if we're being honest here, he pointed a gun in his face to like, so you're going to armed robbery
Right.
of my money, with which I only have
Drank my
200.
whiskey.
He left the whiskey, but I mean,
Right.
I'm gonna let him go that. The second you try and leave the door, I'm like, okay, now the crime is being committed, and then it's gonna be like, I'm not gonna start anything, but I damn well will finish something.
Yeah.
I'm a gun, maybe not in modern day, but in the freaking Wild West, some like I said, some cowpoke starts running around here trying to steal my guns, my money, and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
You better believe I'm strapped. And the second you cross that threshold, eat lead, bitch.
Right.
And the fact that he's just like, he's like he's a dopey old man. I was like, I don't know about
He
all
was
that.
a dopey old man.
I mean, that's maybe, but I'm like, but bruh, you
That's
talk about
just what it is.
you talk about the fact that guy had so many guns.
He
was
left the
strapped.
dwarves.
It doesn't. You don't. I mean, the thing is, you don't even got to be a crack shot. That dude was freaking from here to that doorway. You could just kind of you could blast in the general direction. Hell, with so many guns, you could have 2 guns. Bah, 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 bah. You could fire 10, 12 shots. Anyways, a bit with that kind of stuff. I was a bit kind of upset because I was like,
Right.
Reminds me of that meme.
it kind of took me out of the. It took me out of the. If we're talking about Western
I
here,
take my life in my hands immediately.
right.
God.
You already had a gun in your face and everything's been stolen from you. At that point, I mean, you can call the sheriff if you want to. I mean, at that point, you probably could. Again, wait for him to walk out, start trekking along and be like, help, he's stolen. And then brandish your gun and go, he armed robbery. Bow, bow, bow.
I'm
And you
sure
can
he
just-
did.
God,
Maybe, I don't know.
stole him.
Yeah, and maybe like I said, maybe there was different. Maybe I'm outside. Again, I don't know westerns, so maybe there's some rules and regulations I don't know about. I just thought, for me, that kind of took me out of it. Who I thought was a random bum ass side character that had no
he comes
point in being
off
here.
as a bumbling idiot, but
Right.
he
That's what I was saying. Is I was like, all of a sudden we're really focusing on like this no name side character that I don't care about because I care about Clint Eastwood and the bad guy. Because at that point I was like, the bad character. I was like, he's suspicious, he's interesting, and I was like, and I want to see more of how that plays out. And I was like, and I want to learn more about the good character.
Right.
And I was like, and why are we spending all this random time kind of like setting up this like bozo who is like stealing and getting away from it in a time where I was like, people got shot for far less. You look at my wife the wrong way. It's like, wow, you getting the gas. And I'm like, that's what I'm saying. Like that's
How
the kind
dare
of,
you look at my wife?
that's the stories I was told of like
Yeah.
the Wild West was like a you don't mess around type shit. And this guy's just like, oh, here's my money and my guns. And I was like, bro, what? Get out. Anyways,
I mean, he's got them at
I know.
gunpoint. He didn't have a gun on.
first of all, you're a gun store and you don't have a gun on you. You're messing up. You're trifling.
It's just some
I know,
geriatric old man.
Should have taken
I
all the
know.
firing pins out of him.
There you go. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
You got to buy those
Go
separately.
on, shoot me. I dare you. There's no firing pin in that.
All right. Trigger is sold separately, bitch.
Yeah.
Anyways, I need to digress. The point the thing I was saying was I got kind of frustrated because I was like, I don't know who this character is and I don't like him. He's obviously kind of a bozo and an asshole.
Actively hated this guy.
I didn't actively hate him. I was just like, why are we spending so much time? I was like, I am. The thing is, for me, how he was set up was, again, I had no idea who he was.
Right. Didn't come off as main character.
No, 100% not. He came across as, again, like the pucky companion, the plucky companion that is going to die soon. Because I thought he was going to try and do some dumb shit with the good, and the good's going to blast him, and that was going to be the end of that. And I was like, okay, because I thought we're in a Western here, so I thought our good guy cowboy was going to be like, I'm a no nonsense kind of cowboy, and the second a criminal is going to start, I don't know, threatening me, I'm going to start blasting ass. But that's just anyways.
Right.
So
I digress.
The continuation of the frustration was the fact that also, again, he's caught is in that same sort of hotel scene where he with efficiency blasts 3 different dudes, and he's like, it was your spurs, that's what gave it away. And then of course gets taken off guard by our
he comes
bow
up behind him. It's like, there's two different kinds of spurs, my friend.
Right.
Those that come down the hallway, God bless, and those that come through the window.
right. And at that point I was like, great. And this is where Clint Eastwood's gonna go, funny story, bow, and shoot him. He's gonna fall out the window. And of course then he's like, put your gun away. And I was like, no. And he's like, oh, here's a
Are you really gonna risk it? He's already drawn on you.
I mean, maybe.
But
at the same time, I mean, I don't know.
do the Helldivers hell dive?
All I'm saying is that like the point that I'm saying is that we have established Clint Eastwood's character as a man that, even in the face of adversity with weapons drawn, can blast 3 guys.
Did he?
At the drop of a hat?
Well, did he put 6 bullets in there, or was he only able to put like 3 or 4?
Maybe you're right. Maybe he wasn't. I don't know about that. But what I'm saying is that what I'm trying to say is we're talking about establishing a character. There's our at the beginning, whenever we meet the ugly character and the good guy, and he stands there, and everyone's like, hands at the ready, and it's a standoff.
Yeah.
With brutal efficiency, he takes out 3 guys.
Quick draw McGraw.
Whenever he is, kind of on edge, and they blast open the door, and then with brutal efficiency, blast 3 guys, and all of a sudden he's kind of sort of taken off guard with a guy who already has a gun drawn, and he also, I'm pretty sure, had his gun in his hand.
Yeah.
I was like, for me, it kind of took me out of it again, where I was like, why are we like tiptoeing around again? Who I thought was this bozo side character, who I was like, again, the least important character in this movie. I was like, why all of a sudden he's the main character? And he's like, here's a noose, put it on. And I was like, no. Who do you think I am? I'm the one, and here we go. I'm the one that has saved your ass numerous times. I don't owe you anything. In fact, you owe me your life. Oh, I don't know, 5, 6, however many times over.
Yeah.
You owe me. And the fact that you're sitting here with a gun drawn and I don't kill you right now.
Now, see, that
be surprised.
That would hold weight.
Right.
If he didn't abandon him in the desert.
You're right. You're right. And that's what I'm saying. So I get the discrepancy. I get the frustration. That's why I'm like, but for me, at a certain point, I would be like, maybe it's just because that's the kind of guy I am, and like I probably would never abandon someone in the desert to begin with. Right. But the fact that again, if I've saved your life and you got the audacity to come inside my window, and again, because it's not like he abandoned him that far away, and he's like, I mean, maybe he did. I mean,
70 miles without a horse.
Hey, some shitty stuff. But also, he's also
some shitty stuff.
But at the same time, he's also a criminal.
Right. They're both criminals.
Maybe, but at the same time, when you read
not maybe. They're rigging them.
He's the good. He can't be.
What I'm saying is like from what
good in a way.
In a way, you're right.
Right.
Yes. The good, quote unquote, is gaming the system.
Right. Yeah.
But as far as like, I don't know. Anyway, they paint the ugly as like a really bad character where like he's got a laundry list of like abandoning the scummiest. So it's like, I don't know. In
by way of comparison, Clint Eastwood's character is leagues above this dude.
Exactly.
Well,
so it doesn't feel as bad, but I know that's not the case. And that's not the way. But anyways.
Well, whenever he makes him walk through 100 miles through the desert.
Yeah.
Dude, he's twisting that knife.
See,
Jesus.
I might would do the same thing in his situation to a degree.
Right.
I wouldn't have gone that far with it. I'd have been like, okay, you've suffered enough.
Right. There's a modicum of decency that one would have.
Yeah.
At least you'd like to believe you may have in that situation. That this dude clearly does not.
Yeah, I'd have been like, okay, I'm done messing with you. You can get on the horse or whatever.
Right. But that's not the case.
Right.
So again, after the whole, he makes them put a noose on, and I'm like, I don't get it. And then by way of happenstance, he ends up getting out, and then they end up catching him again or whatever.
Cannonball hits the building and they fall
Yeah.
through the floor. God, I love that shot. Just like actually seeing them fall through, that was amazing.
Probably my other favorite shot is them running into the Confederate soldiers.
Oh yeah, right.
And then they dust themselves off, and they're actually Union. Yeah, it's like
he just finished it, like hooping and hollering, like "Yay for the Confederacy! Go, General! What's his name? Lee! Yeah!" Woo. And they dust themselves off and are like, "Hey, why don't you come with us?"
Yep.
But before that situation happens, like the main
talk about the church.
The main plot of this movie that I didn't realize until again after we're working on it,
because there's like scant few mentions of it here and there.
Do you want to know what this movie feels like?
What,
a Western?
Chase?
I'm going to go ahead and stop the podcast right there. I'm just going to go ahead and quit. And, it's good talking with you guys, but I'll be leaving now. This movie feels like what it's like to play a D&D campaign.
Yeah.
It's like you just bumble around from one encounter to the next. There's a main story.
Maybe that's how they did it.
There is a thing that happens, but like they're just going from one encounter to the next of like, oh shit, now we're in this situation.
Tunko the Ugly is the lucky Ted of this.
Yeah. We bumble
Everything's
around
at 0, but luck's at 50.
Yeah. Yeah. If your intelligence all the way down, as long as you make up for it in charisma, you're fine.
You'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out. But that's what it feels like, at least. Like we're going from one kind of happenstance to one dumb encounter to like, well, here we are now.
Right.
You work your way out of it and then try and progress to the next step. And then, of course, you stumble into like Confederate soldiers and you're like, well, here we are. Now we're prisoners of war.
Here we are now joining the Union. The Union.
Exactly. So like that, where it's like, well, and here we are now.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's a good thing. I think it makes the progression of the story feel very natural. But like the quote unquote bad character, is after this, his job is to find this person,
right? And
then he learns that this person has stashed away a large sum of gold. And so, $200,000. Hold on one second.
That is a lot in 18th century money.
When was the Civil War?
That'd be a lot now.
Yeah.
At least in my bank account.
I wouldn't say no to 200,000 right now.
I don't think anybody would.
Nope. Anything 6 digits.
I could go buy a Lamborghini.
A Lamborghini for 200,000?
I think you could buy one for like 100, if not like a Ferrari or something.
What? Do you remember what year did the Civil War go on? 18 something?
Definitely in the 1800s, but I can't say for sure.
Let's see real
I haven't
quick.
brushed up on my history in a while.
Only 4 years. Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. 1861 to 1865.
That was fast.
Let's just say
Damn.
1864 to be safe. Let's say. Enter the amount of money. I'm doing an inflation calculator. Let's see real fast.
Adjust for 18th century. Stretch of Chase, quit looking at me like that and say something, for fuck's sake. You do this enough on a regular basis. How about a sentence?
Nothing will change.
That is a sentence. Okay. We'll take that. Nothing will change. Yeah, Chase is the only constant. I forgot. Silly me.
I don't think that I can actually go that far. Yeah, I can't go that far back in history. I don't think.
Really?
That sucks.
Let's see. Can I just do straight up 1900? Will that work? Or is it?
That'd probably work.
No, I can't. I think the earliest I go is 1915.
Damn.
Wow.
Well,
Are we able to ballpark it? Like what?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are.
What do we got?
And if we do $200,000 in 1950 money, that's $6 million.
Jesus Christ!
So you have to think it's probably even worth more than that. So we're probably talking about somewhere in the range of $8 to $10 million.
That is.
Yeah, I could leave.
Insane.
I could leave 4 bags behind.
Oh yeah, dude.
The other guy.
Oh yeah,
Right.
100%.
We'll
I
both
could
be set for life.
I could leave with about $400,000 to $500,000. Hell yeah, I could run. Yeah,
Wow.
Considering like a pistol or whatever cost $20 back then.
I was,
Right.
dude, me and Chase were flabbergasted when he said $20.
I was like, 20, I'll take it.
for that handmade,
I got
like,
20 on me
custom
right now.
revolver the dude just made. That was his spot on appraisal for that thing. He just slapped together like it was nothing.
Yeah.
Like $20. There you go.
it's worth the pot, worth its weight in metal. So, anyways, the bad quote unquote character who I think, I don't know.
Needed more screen time.
Yes. Thank you. I'm glad I
Yeah.
didn't have to say it.
He makes appearances.
He was
here
a
and there.
much more interesting character, and I would have loved a movie with just the good and the bad. Nick's the ugly.
Damn.
I think it would have been so much more interesting. I think if I got some more screen time and more understanding of what makes the good tick
Yeah.
and what makes the bad really be the way he is.
What if we threw
But
Nick
we
in,
didn't.
What if we threw Nick in the movie and we just called him the weird?
Oh my God.
I don't think he'd make it. I don't think he'd survive.
Damn.
I think he would cross a line and they'd be like, "What is this kid saying?"
Probably right.
Oh man.
But then again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he holds his own, and maybe he's a good he's a crack shot with a pistol, and he can prove me
He
wrong.
somehow makes it to the end of the study, at the very end of the thing.
By sheer luck and,
Right.
and gunslinging ability.
Just peeking out from behind a grave.
Yeah. Guys, I don't want to be here anymore.
I don't have a gun.
So
Somehow
anyways,
a random artillery shell just randomly goes over there and
Yeah.
kills one of them.
yeah, I'm out.
Traitor detected.
Oh, God.
So, oh gosh. So, anyways, what I'm trying to say is that through the kind of intro bit of the bad, we understand, a little bit more about the character that he's hunting down, and the reason with which he is hunting him down for to go find the location of this money. But, through turns of events and again through sheer luck and like I said, these kind of like scant encounters that happen, they end up coming across the wagon that is holding this guy Bill Carson in it. That's the guy who's being hunted.
Right.
Apparently has an eye patch, so whenever we see him, it's like, oh shit,
It's him.
and he's barely alive.
Dude,
and
he's him.
Dude, he's him. And then of course his last dying words is like, he
Water.
$200,000
yeah.
of pure gold buried in a graveyard.
Sir, where did you get all that gold?
Gold.
Okay.
But he's only able to get out the location of the graveyard.
Right. He tells that info to Tuco, and then he goes to get him some water before he fucking dies so he can get the rest of it. And then as he gets back to the carriage, we see the good. Blondie.
Basically the remains of him. Like,
Right.
He's like,
The dried up husk.
because at this point he's been escorted around the desert by the ugly, as like a
Right.
revenge attempt.
Yeah.
And he was able to get the name.
No, don't
Or
die on me, Blondie.
perhaps
We've always
like
been
that.
friends, even
Yeah,
though
right.
I made you go
The
100
instant heel
miles
turn.
through a desert without water.
Right.
And then this is the point for me where I think I realize who the character is. And I was like, oh, he's not a dumb companion character. He's the third protagonist of this film. And I was like, oh, shit. And then I changed my tune a little bit because I was like, oh, we're supposed to kind of care about this guy, even though he's a jackass. And I mean, at this point, I could care less if he makes it or not. And so he ends up bringing him to like this little hole-in-the-wall town, which is apparently where this priest and this like kind of medical church is.
his brother.
Mm-hmm. And like they were insinuating at a certain point, you know.
See, that's the funny thing. He's the one we get the most development on.
And that made me
regard.
sad.
Yeah, because I mean, we get like his whole backstory about the shitty town he grew up in.
Yep.
How his brother decided to become a priest. He was a bandit to make ends meet.
Right.
Their parents died.
Yep.
And
At that point, now that I kind of at that point when I realized who the character was,
right,
I
you
was
can understand why
I
he's
was-
such a piece of shit.
well, correct, but for me, that's where I started to. I was a little bit lighter on him because I understood at that point. I was like, "Hey, yo, guys, is this the ugly?"
Yep.
And they were both like, "Yes." I was like, "Cool," because at this point, I was like, "We're like 30 to 45 minutes in," and I was like,
awesome.
"I was like, where's our third
Great.
character?" I was like, "We've gotten this."
him.
And that's what I'm saying. So again, at this point in the movie, I was like, "Bro, we're wasting a whole whole lot of time on this
Just sitting there like,
nobody.
who is this guy?
Because again, I thought this was all like the quote unquote establishment of our
Right.
good character, and I was like, first of all, we're not focusing on the good character. We're like kind of focusing on him and the fact that he's being tortured, but like we're not really getting like development of like who is he? Where does he come from? We're getting a bunch of exposition on this nothing bandit, but we get nothing on our main character guy. And I was like, man, we're wasting time here.
Yeah.
So at that point, I was kind of getting a little more frustrated with the fact that I was like, because I was expecting this guy to just like be here today and gone tomorrow.
Right.
And then our ugly character to kind of show up at a certain point. But no, was not that
Right.
way. So anyways, I'm like, okay, well, shit, now I got to be a little less hard on him.
He reared his heinous visage.
But then, again, it kind of like, the ugly at a certain point in time at his bedside is like, he's the ramblings of a madman at that point. He's like, I've always been here for you, man. And,
Right.
and if I was on my dying breath, you know what I would do? I don't. That's not what you got to do, but you know what I would do? I would
Go
sit
ahead
and
and give me the name of
I would
that
go ahead and
grave.
give me the name because it's something I would do because I
I'll always
trust you.
remember you.
Yeah, right.
Honor
And
your
it's like-
name forever.
Yeah.
Like, okay, buddy. Sure.
So again, we know how this is playing out. We're like, okay, he's the scummy, third character here. And I was like,
then
okay.
tells him to come closer. And then he fucking splashes his face with whatever bedside bucket he had. And was
Yeah.
like, it'd be a shame if I lost a good friend to keep me safe,
Yep.
since I know the name of the grave.
Yep.
And he's like, you know what? I ain't going down that easy.
Right. Begrudging partners from then on.
Right. And again, then we get that exposition of, his background. And then I was like, okay, so I understand that we are to feel some sympathy towards him. And I was like, okay, so I get it. And like, yes, he gets pissed off at his brother because like, you know what, whenever you left to go be a priest, I had to stay back and, be there with mom and dad when it was hard. And it's like, I get it. I'm not saying, I'm not trying to belittle the fact that you did that.
Right.
But he is belittling the fact that like he then ran away and on his parents' deathbed, all they wanted was their son to be there, and he wasn't there because he then abandoned them.
Yep.
And the priest's son then stepped up. And I was like, I'm not trying to compare who did worse, but if we're going to sit here and you're going to tell me I did bad for doing good, it's kind of shitty that, I don't want to sit here and compare anything,
It's
but at the
just
same
a bad
time,
situation.
it's a whole bad situation.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is I love the fact that the other brother took the high road and didn't say that and was not pointing the finger. He did kind of say the fact that our parents' wishes were that you would be there and you weren't. But then, of course, in a fit of rage, the ugly, kind of gets mad and he's like, well, at least I was there for them at a certain point in time. I think he's lashing out. And, and then says some shit. And of course,
The slap.
like true brothers do.
Like Noah Bright himself.
Exactly. He says something and he kind of pops off and the brother slaps him. And of course, I was like, hell yeah, dude. You don't got to take shit from your know-nothing brother who's, kind of a bandit and a scumbag.
Right.
Yeah.
Because at that point, he's also asking, like, I heard you got married at a certain point. He's like, I got married and, 3, 4, 5
Anywhere I
times
could
or
find
whatever. Anywhere I could find him. It's like, okay, I get you're a hard ass. I get you're a bandit, but like, you ain't got to be like that, dude. Come on, dude. You don't got to be a shit ass.
Right.
But anyway, so like
Shit's
I said,
ass.
shit's ass. But then there's a whole like they fight a little bit or whatever.
Code Brown.
Code Brown,
Right.
We got a Code Brown in my brother right now. Fucking shit ass.
And of course, even after taking the hit from his brother, he still loves him.
Oh, I mean,
Even
yeah,
asks his
right,
forgiveness.
Yeah, because he still
Right.
picked him up.
Right. Oh, yeah. I'm not saying they hate each other. It's
Yeah.
very much brother behavior.
Right.
I've been there as well. Where like you kind of get in the heat of the moment, you say some shit you probably don't mean, or you get upset.
Yeah.
But I'm not. And what I'm trying to say is like I don't think it doesn't shed a positive light in my mind for the Ugly's character. Just with the whole interaction, I was like, okay, I think you're trying to justify your bad behavior. Anyways, they end up carting away, and I think that obviously Clint Eastwood's character, the good, listened into the whole thing. I think understands a little bit more about what he's going through right now.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so
And from then on, he's like, okay,
I'll
cut you a little slack.
I liked the touch that happens in that cart ride where you can tell that the Ugly still cares about his brother and
Right.
talks highly about him and kind of like embellishes the fact that he was like, my brother told me, come on, you should stay, you stay and eat. And I had to tell him like, nah, I gotta get going.
I gotta find that gold.
And that was 100% not what transpired earlier.
Yeah.
In fact, they got into a kind
No
of
matter where I go or who I talk to, I
Yeah.
know there's a brother out there that won't deny me a bowl of soup.
exactly. And it's like, and that's probably not 100% false.
Yeah.
But then I think the interesting thing is that the good understands what actually happened.
Right.
Yeah.
And is able to go like, well, you know what's good after a meal is a good old cigar, and just offers him the rest of his cigar, and it's like, all right. And I would have, I don't know, I would have liked there to be a little more friendly development, but I know that's also not
Yeah.
what cowboys do.
It's messy. Yeah.
It's messy.
Nothing's set in stone.
No, and of course you can always guarantee that the ugly's always going to look after himself. That's just
Yeah.
the way it is. And I think the good knows that and always stays on edge. And that's what I mean by like, whenever I said earlier, the fact that I enjoyed this movie a lot because I watched it from beginning to end. If I didn't finish out like the last, I would say probably 10, 15 minutes of the movie, I'd have a very different opinion on it.
Damn. Yeah.
The last standoff,
Oh yeah.
really solidified the relationship between those two, and I think ended on a good note.
Yeah.
If I didn't see that last part, I would be like, it's just going to be this forever cyclical cycle of
Right.
of a shitty guy who's just trying to take care of himself, and this other good character that's trying to keep him at bay and keep him going.
Yeah.
Which I mean, that may still be the case, but there's some other things that happen. But do you guys want to touch on anything else before I hit the kind of ending part that I'm talking about? Before I start moving into the
No, I think I'm good.
okay. I didn't want to move too far into
What
like
about
the,
you, Chase?
the ending sequence. If you guys want to talk about the bridge sequence or the captain or whatever else that goes on that little brief
Oh,
portion.
God.
I
Yeah,
was
the
gonna say
drunkard.
probably the other scene I liked before that was whenever they're in the little town
Yeah,
and the guy walks through the dust cloud after it got
Oh,
boarded right
oh,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, I
You
love
see
that.
him like stride out of the building that they're in, and then a fucking artillery round just hits
Yeah.
like square in the middle of the road, and you just see him walk right out like nothing happened, and he's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like oop de doo hum de dum. Like I thought
And
that,
that
was
was-
just some
that was the-
random dude.
that was the ugly character,
Right.
And it's like, wow, all right,
That's right.
Yeah, well, I also love how they just cleared out the town.
That's
I
that
thought
luck
was-
stat coming
yeah.
into play.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So at a certain point in time, again, like we were talking about before, there's this whole bridge sequence. They kind of pseudo,
They volunteer for
Yeah.
with the Union forces.
right?
After being POW of the Union
Of course,
forces.
right? But they end up kind of making brief friends with this drunk captain and fulfilling his dying wish and
Right.
blowing up this bridge that separates the Confederates from the Unions and all that kind of stuff. And as they're setting up this, as they're setting up the explosives to make the bridge go, the ugly character tries again to kind of, twist the knife a little bit. It's like, what? We're in a kind of a dangerous situation. We're risking our lives here,
Right.
Be a shame if something was to happen to you. And I don't know where the gold is.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you're right.
It sure
man."
would be a shame if something happened to me.
Right.
Since I know where it is.
And he's like, you know what we should do? I mean, like, he's like, we should share the locations together. And he's like, and then of course the good character's like, you're right, we should. Why don't you go first?
Right.
And he's like, yeah.
Oh yeah, he hesitates. Capital H.
But then eventually tells them, and he's like, he tells them very quickly, it's like, now your turn.
Mm-hmm.
And then strategically, he tells them
Right.
an approximate location of where it is, but it actually is like an actual grave location. And he's like, all right.
How did you almost know my name?
Yeah.
I have approximate knowledge of many things.
But then, of course, they blow up the bridge. They end up trudging their way through, making it through, and of course, they end up finding their way to the grave site where, the first thing that they do, or the first thing that the ugly character does, is runs away and
Right. Immediately makes a break for
right.
it.
And I love the fact that like the good character isn't taking a side with the Confederates or the Union,
Mm-hmm.
with the fact that there's like a dying Confederate soldier, and he's cold, so he takes off his jacket and
Right.
covers
He's
him
on
up.
his way out.
and then of course bums him off a couple of hits of his cigar to help ease
Here's
the
the
pain.
booth, bro. One last hit.
Yep. Hey, he got 2 good hits out of
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But so it's, again, it just further shows the fact that this is just a man who's not gonna pick a side. He's just gonna kind of do whatever's right.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is good. I think it's like those little things, because we're not getting, again, unfortunately, we're not getting any other story from him,
Right.
and we're focusing heavily on the ugly character,
Yeah.
or as far as like exposition wise. So it's like,
Right.
okay, so we're getting a little bit more of like who this character is, and then we can give a couple of pot shots of this cannon over,
Right.
over in the
Like
ugliest
no horse
character
for you.
No. Make you work for it.
Right. Knock you on your ass a little.
And I love we get this. I would
Dude,
say
the montage.
I would wager it's like a 3-minute sequence.
It's pretty lengthy.
It's pretty lengthy of him just like running through this very large graveyard. Because when you look at it, the graveyard is expansive.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's
oh,
huge.
man. And we don't know if it's alphabetized or not, or what
Right.
the
It's anybody's guess.
exactly. So he starts,
Because of the music, the way he's like almost prancing through this graveyard, it comes off as so triumphant and hilarious.
right.
Yeah.
But he's also like his facial expressions like
Oh yeah.
like
Where's the grave?
and then
Off
at
his
a
rocker.
certain point in time, I would wager that they just plopped a camera on a tripod
And just-
and loosened up the clutch on it and just spun that shit around, because at a certain point in time,
like a Beyblade.
at a certain time there it literally is just a camera spinning 360 around
Mm-hmm.
an area. I'm just like, oh my god, where am
Somebody
I?
help! I don't know how to stop.
Let me
I can't see.
yeah.
man.
But I think it further sells the fact that he's just like, he's
Oh yeah.
in turmoil trying to find this grave.
Frantically searching.
So he finds the grave and he starts, he grabs a piece of wood out the ground and he's like pseudo shoveling it and digging with his hands. And we're, of course, obviously, as all of us here, we're like, gold. Yeah, gold. Give me gold. So we're making a whole bunch of noises. And then, in true badass fashion, the good shows up out of nowhere with like this little dinky shovel and he just throws it at the grave. And he's like,
Go a bit faster with a
Yeah.
shovel.
go a bit faster with this.
Yeah.
But and again, we don't get a lot of exposition with the good character, but the next sequence, again, the beginning of the film, I don't think did a good job. Again,
You'll have to
it's,
watch it again.
Oh, no. I don't think a second watch is going to make it any better.
No, okay.
Because a brief moment at the beginning, they set up the good character as a crack shot and kind of a badass.
Yeah.
But then they take it away with that whole sequence with the ugly. They just really beat him down and make him kind of like make him who I thought was like our big bad guy. They just really knock him down a peg and like, okay, maybe he's not as badass as I thought he was.
Everybody gets their licks.
A little bit, but I think it's more so the fact that I think he
Except the bad. The bad just kind of kicks ass throughout the whole thing.
and that's what I'm talking about. Is I think I would have liked to see more of the bad, and I would have liked the ugly to have a little more leverage against the good. At a certain point in time during that beginning portion, I was like, bruh.
Need to see the bad make more orphans.
Well, I don't know about that. That's a bit much.
That's
what I'm
just-
talking about is I feel like
He'll become
I
the badder.
the ugly character didn't feel like he had the upper hand on the good at any point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The establishing shot was the goods on top, and he has the ugly in the palm of his hands.
Yeah.
Is what it felt like. And then all of a sudden the dynamic sort of changes, but not in a satisfying way where I was like, ooh, the goods got to watch out. Anyway, so what I'm saying is like at the beginning of the movie, they kind of set him up as kind of a badass, but not really. But as the movie progresses, and because he's kind of quiet and we don't get a whole lot of exposition
Man,
on
a
him,
few words.
he's a little mysterious. He's kind of like the crazy cowboy. By the ending of it is where I think he really cashes in.
Oh,
because he still has all the information of where the actual gold is,
Yep.
and they're in the location, and all of us know that. As the viewer, for my first time, I was like, I know we're at an approximation of where the actual gold is, but he's being strategic of how he's going about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which I think is smart, because you can't trust the ugly. Probably 4 or 5 times over, he's trying to betray you. And that's just the way it is. He's not a friend. He's a liability at this point.
Yeah.
And so the point that I'm saying about all this is that whenever the bad shows up with a gun and a bigger shovel, and he throws it at the graveyard again. He's like, "You better start digging too. It's gonna go fast with 2 people." And of course, the good character just like has his cigar in his mouth. He chews on, and he just looks at him.
Yep.
And of course, he's like, "What?
You're not digging.
What? You're not digging?" And he's like,
I don't dig.
"I don't dig." And I was like, "Hell yeah, dude! I don't care who the hell you are. I don't. This is what I'm talking about." I was like, again. He has a gun pulled on him, and he's like, "You're gonna do this," and he's like, "Nah."
Right. That's because he's got the advantage.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. But at a certain point in time, I feel like in the earlier parts, he had an advantage, but he just chose not to, is what it felt like. So I was like, okay, so you're choosing to kind of be a weaker character, and I didn't understand what that was about because I thought you were a hard ass, so maybe you're not. So that's what I'm saying. For me, I felt like I could have read the situation wrong. But that's what it felt like in the beginning. But I was like, but I love the redemption later. I was like, this is the character I'm talking about. You got a gun pointed at you, and at this point, you're like, nah, dude.
Right.
You're not going to kill me.
The flawless cowboy.
Right. And but then it all shows him.
You'll never find the location.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It all shows up whenever he's like, he pulls the friggin' lid off, and he's like, because there ain't no friggin' gold here, buddy.
Yep.
I know where the location is.
Oh, yeah.
You're the jackass here. And I was like, okay, I get it.
And now I got you.
And then, of course, in a weird turn of events, because I didn't understand why he would do this, but then again, it all makes sense later, is that he's like, I'm going to go ahead and write the name on this rock. And I was like, why? And he's like, I'm going to go write the name on this rock. Because again, because they're all like, they're trying to be mysterious.
Right.
They're all trying to be like, they're all.
$200,000 is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
We got to earn it.
But exactly, we got to earn it. And I was like, but why? What does writing the name on the rock do?
Where does the rock come into play?
Exactly, because I was like, because you know where it is,
Yeah.
but they don't know where it is.
He forces him into a standoff.
So what I thought was going to happen was he's like, I'm going to write the name on this rock, and I'm going to chuck it, and you guys both got to fight for it.
Yeah.
He pulls a Master Roshi.
That's why.
Shit.
Again. So I was confused whenever he just like sets it in the middle and then walks away, and I was like, okay, so you're going to make them fight over it, but no, it's a 3-way standoff, and I was like, so wait a second. Why are you in the equation? Because you already know where it is. You don't get the right to fire. Again, this is a bad versus ugly scenario. You need to see your way out of it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm confused. And then, so after, what I would say is, in my personal opinion, I know they're building tension, but I felt like the standoff sequence could have been shortened down
A little long
bit.
in the tooth.
A little
Yeah,
bit.
it probably could have been shortened.
The
just a
music
little bit.
drives it home for me.
The
That makes
music,
it worthwhile.
the
Yeah.
score, beautiful. The costume design, the whole thing. Because again, I love that like they change costumes as they're going. They change wardrobe enough where it feels very natural, and again, like they are just moving from one situation to the next.
Yeah.
But I love that I have seen Clint Eastwood in the iconic cowboy fit before.
Oh, yeah.
But I never knew where from, and it's this movie at the end of the movie. The iconic look where he is like, he's standing there looking over the ugly, and he's
the
got
wide
the
brim
and
hat,
he's
the
got
poncho.
He's got exactly the poncho pulled over his shoulder with the vest and the blue button-up shirt with the kind of like, not I wouldn't even say cowboy hat. I would say flat brimmed hat, because it's not even a cowboy hat really. And he's chewing on like that that bump of a cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
The nub.
Exactly, the nub. Like that's the Clint Eastwood like cowboy that I know of. And so again, he's in the iconic fit at the very end. I was like, okay, this is
Right,
the
this
scene,
is
obviously.
it.
So, and then of course, in a true Western sense, both the good and the ugly turn on the bad and start to fire, but the ugly has no ammo in his gun. And then, of course, the good ends up, laying some lead into him.
With fucking style, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
he puts a shot into him, puts him on the ground. Of course, he's still kicking, so he finishes him off.
Right.
And then he rolls into an open grave.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, coincidentally.
And on his way over to the ugly, he fires a couple more shots to get his hat and his gun into the grave with him.
Right. And I was like, okay, that's
God damn,
What
dude.
if
a
I
bit
just-
excessive.
What if I just
Holy
like
shit.
edit it to where after he did that, just do the "we strike" noise? Hole in one.
You rolled a spare.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh God, I almost said something
I
aggressive.
know
Yeah.
exactly what you said. You were going to say.
We'll tell you after the podcast. It's a bit aggressive for
Right,
on the
right.
show talk.
All right.
So, he walks over to the ugly, and of course, he's like, "Yo,
You motherfucker, you could have killed me.
yeah." And you emptied out my freaking gun. When did you empty it out? And he's like, "Emptied it out last night."
Yep.
So, anyways, it's like okay, so this was all a clever ploy that I think he must have had,
Yeah.
Right.
And then he's like,
He had to have figured that between a standoff with the three of them, the ugly's going to go for bad first as well.
right, of course. Again, that's what I'm saying. I think the good is always one step ahead, and we kind of know that, but it really shows in that sequence, and that's what I was talking about with I don't think the good holds any animosity towards him. But does he trust him? No.
Definitely
and I was like,
not.
And I was like, okay, so I understand the dynamic a little bit more now. It's unfortunate that I'm understanding that dynamic at the end of the film.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying before. It's like I just don't. But that's just because I think, like I said, because of the fact that I viewed the character as something insignificant for what I would consider 1/3 of the beginning of the film, which is my own fault. So again, so for me, I think it felt a little bit like, I didn't kind of start to care about the character until after the whole sequence with his brother, and I was like, so it kind of confused me it threw me for a loop for a little bit. But needless to say, the
Rounded
sequence
out pretty well by the end there.
at the very end, and this is the whole thing I wanted to talk about this whole sequence was, and this is what I was talking about, and I like it. It feels good. The conclusion is good, but it feels like this movie was 2.5 to 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And I feel like you want to talk about slow burn.
Oh,
Yeah.
We watched, I spent probably 2 hours and 30 minutes for the last 10-minute payoff.
Yeah.
Because how it all plays out at the end, for those of you who haven't watched it, definitely watch it. And I'm not going to, and there's no spoiler alert for a movie that came out in 1966.
Right. There's no excuse.
The fact that I haven't seen it is obviously shocking. The whole reason why we have this show, but that's beside the point.
The premise.
The premise of this show. But if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's a great movie. A bit of like I said,
oh yeah, it's long. Get ready for
a bit long, but again, it's a great movie, and I think the payoff really sells it.
Oh, it was perfect for whenever COVID happened.
Oh yeah, man.
Because that's back whenever I watched it.
Really?
Yeah, right when COVID happened and nothing was open, I was like, well, I'll just rent this on
Might as well
Amazon
catch
or
up
whatever.
on some spaghetti.
Yeah.
So I think I watched it with my dad at the time.
Nice. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
But the kind of the culmination of this whole story is that the gun's empty. He still has the location, and he's like, it's in the unknown grave next to the one that you just dug up.
Right.
And he's like, okay.
At first he was like, what about the stone? It's like, there is nothing on the stone.
Right.
There's two kinds of people in the world, my friend. Those that dig, and I honestly can't remember what the other one was, which kind of ruins that whole statement. But clearly, the good isn't a man who digs. So
Those that don't dig and those who become the grave digger.
Oh God. But
I forgot what the phrase was. I think he ended it with "and those who dig." So he's like, there's two people in the world: those that blank, and I think those that shoot and those that dig, or something like that. It was like kind of what he said.
Well, since you mentioned the no spoiler thing,
I was just joking about that. We can definitely spoil it. I'm gonna talk about the ending because the ending is the best part.
Well, I was gonna say my favorite part is whenever he's riding off after he told the guy to hop on the cross, put a rope around his neck. I like whenever he disappears. And he's just looking around, going, "Where'd he go? Where'd he go?" And then all of a sudden, he just reappears.
So this is what I'm talking about. So this is what I'm saying is that this is what I'm talking about, and this. Everybody who has your notebooks out, pencils ready. This is what I'm talking about when I say character development. When I talk about loving a character. When I talk about I'm talking about like redemption arc. When I'm talking about all that shit, this is what I'm talking about. I'm gonna gush on the ending of this film for a
cherry
minute.
on top.
It is the cherry on top. He has a rope. and after he digs their way out, and the ugly digs their way out and pulls out
8
whole bags of gold,
Full of gold.
It is excited, and then tries to look up at his quote unquote friend to celebrate. He's like, all right, and then of course he looks up and notices a noose hanging from a tree, and he's like, come on, you wouldn't play a practical joke on me like that, would you? And he's like,
it's not a joke, it's a rope. No,
I need you to put your head in that rope. And it's like, ooh, and this is the same sequence that happened whenever they were in that hotel room. The one I was kind of shitting on a second ago.
Right.
The one where I was like, maybe he could have had the upper hand, but then again, maybe he was playing into it a little bit. Because at this point, I don't know if the good character can think that far ahead or is that smart. But at this point in time, I was like, this is kind of starting to burn a little bit, where I was like, okay, I played along with your little game and you ferried me around the desert. We're even now.
Right.
But now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this one last thing for you because I've saved your life this many times. We'll be 2 for 2. I'm going to put your neck around that. He took the I think he took like the necklace of like the ugly had like a leather cord that he had his pistol on, so he always had it with him.
Right.
I'm pretty sure he took that and like bound up his hands behind his back and had the noose pretty tightly around his neck. And then he proceeds to say, just like the good old times,
right.
4 bags for you, 4 bags for me, because they've always split. They always split the profits 50-50. And the time whenever, and this is what I was saying before about the character of the good guy is that he never considered abandoning him in the desert or breaking off their companionship until the ugly started saying, I'm gonna need a bigger cut.
Right.
And it's like, this has always been a 50-50 deal, and I feel like you're starting to talk like you're going to start trying to take money from me, even though this has always been a 50-50 deal. And I feel like I'm going to get shafted. So I'm going to go ahead and leave you.
Just cut things off.
I'm going to go ahead and cut things off now while we can. I saved your life now. I'll leave you in the desert and leave you to fend for yourself. But I'm not going to get played.
Right.
The player don't get played. That's just the way it is. That's what it felt like for me, where I was like, yeah, it's kind of shitty to leave out there. But at the same time, his business is starting to get a little, the water is getting a little mucky.
Right.
So anyways, he's like, just like the good old days, 50-50, 4 bags for me, 4 bags for you. He straps the bags onto his horse,
the
Hyance, and proceeds to go away.
Yep, just ride off.
And goes farther than he ever has been whenever he has, quote unquote, saved him from shooting the rope. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm freaking talking about. Whenever I hate a character, I get frustrated with a character.
Right.
I feel like a character is a nobody or whatever. And you start to make me care about them a little bit.
You don't want to see him go.
No, not even that. You're right. You make me care about him enough to where I see where he's coming from. I see where his bad decisions are. And I may not like the character. But whenever the camera keeps cutting back to the gold and he's staring there, he's sitting there and he's balancing his little feet on the 2 ends of this cross.
Oh, it's torture.
And he's looking down at it. And then the worst part of it all, and the part that breaks my heart a little bit, was whenever he is out there and he's yelling Blondie. He's yelling. And then at a certain point in time, you can tell that the noose is getting a little tighter and he keeps slipping a little bit.
Yeah.
And you're like, bruh, this guy. And then you start to question it. You're like, is he really going to leave him? And then he goes a little bit farther than you think he does. Like Chase just said, he goes just far enough where you can't see him anymore. And you're like, yo, this dude just left him.
Yeah.
And at that point, you get, and then the part that hurt me the most, that almost made me tear up and get a little sad, was whenever he sits there and he almost tries to say it again. He almost tries to yell out for Blondie, but he can't. And he goes, and he's choking up.
Yeah.
And his foot keeps sliding, and he's trying to kind of jostle, but also not, because he's like, if I do, I'm gonna freaking hang myself. And I'm looking at like what could be the last few moments of this character that I have hated, but I'm like, but I really don't think he deserves that. That kind of feels a little shitty.
Right.
And as far as like what we've seen of the good guy, this is kind of what I would say the shittiest thing I've seen him. If he was to actually leave him out there,
not something a good guy would do.
Just leaving him out in the desert,
right?
Kind of understanding where civilization is, I think is one thing. But to like leave him like that, that feels like a stretch too far for me. And the fact that I was like, man, it was a little hard to watch, and I got a little sad because I was like, I may not like this character because of decisions that he has made in the past or throughout this film. But I don't think he deserves that, especially so close to like having worked for that in a way.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, man. And that was where, for me, I was like, you want to talk about
bad way to go.
A slow burn, but a way to make me care about a character that I didn't originally. I was like, and I was like, kudos.
Damn.
You did it.
That's good.
You did it. And that's why I wanted to hammer home why I despise him at first. Because again, like I said before, if I didn't watch that last ending of it, I would have had a very different feeling about that character.
Right.
Or the relationship between the two. Because out of nowhere, like Chase said a second ago, all of a sudden he pops out from behind some trees. And from a very large distance, he then like thinks about it. Because again, this is what I'm talking about. At the ending, he's like, whenever he's like, I'm going to need a larger cut. And he's like, well, I don't know about all that. Like, I mean, I'm still putting in a lot of work here, too. I'm putting my neck out on the line. We still should keep 50-50. Yeah. Or else I may not have quite as accurate shots with the rope.
It may start to affect my aim.
It may start to affect my aim a little bit. Yeah. And all of a sudden, from a very large distance away, again, the actor did a great job.
Oh, yeah.
Start to see the fear in his eyes of like, not only is he going to leave me to hang here, but then he also may, quote unquote, not have as great aim and
possibly leave me gut shot to bleed out.
And just to add insult to injury. So at that point, he's like, the fear sets in of like, I may have really...
I'm about to die.
Like 2 times over about to die.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, and that's what I'm talking about. Is at that point, I still held out hope a little bit that I was like, come on.
Don't.
I was like, don't do that, man. And then of course he shoots the rope. He ends up falling down and tumbling around. And I was like, oh man. And then it feels like you get that sense of like, oh.
I'd like to believe after that entire situation, he's scared straight.
100%.
Like he goes back to the church, makes amends with his brother.
Oh yeah.
Back on the path.
But then, like, he's stumbling around. He like, stands up, and then
you know what you are.
Yeah.
Nothing but a son of a bitch.
Yeah. But then, of course, you're nothing but a son of a. And I love that. Like, I've heard that song, hundreds and hundreds.
Oh,
of times
it's a great song,
especially in regards to Western type things. And I knew that this was the theme song of this movie. But in context of this film, the fact that they keep like they keep sprinkling that little motif in everywhere is so cool, and I love it. And it's a great. And then I learned through Googling a little bit that it's actually the theme is called, I think the Ecstasy of Gold.
Yep. I believe so. Yeah.
Which I mean, like, what a cool name, because it ties in with the whole the Ecstasy of Gold. It's the whole premise of the thing. The whole premise of the movie is they're on the hunt for gold, and I love that. Anyways, so and that's what I was saying. I had a whole bunch of shit to say about this because at the end I think it all redeems itself in a very beautiful way.
Came around in the end,
and I was pleasantly surprised.
I'm so glad.
Bit of a longer movie, but
it was worth it.
Just like the movie, I wanted you guys to feel as though I hated it all the way up until the very end, and then I loved it. That's exactly what it felt like. I was so frustrated.
There was a few times I'm like, oh, I don't think he likes it.
Like, man, shit.
Yeah,
so you've been waiting so long for this one. It can't end like this.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I was like, well, you can't win all of them.
That's okay. It was like I said, it was a great film, and I think it really had me going for a long time. The characters all were unique in their own way, and I think they were all really well written.
Yeah.
To make me love and hate them in all the right times, in all the right ways. The only thing I do wish, if I could like critique a little bit, was I do wish I kind of would have. I think they did a good job of establishing the bad character. I think I just would have liked a little bit more
Right. There
Yeah.
just
Kind
doesn't
of-
go much beyond like how he does his business and what he's willing to do.
Right, which again I think establishes him very
Oh,
well.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just would have liked a little bit more, just to kind of even just a few different. He does kind of have like a bad deed whenever he kind of like he beats the shit out of the ugly character, or he has his goon do it for him, which kind of I think also does it. So maybe maybe a second watch may change my mind a little bit, but I just would have liked a little bit more. I would have liked to hate him a little bit more.
Right.
I think I think because I was spending so much time hating on the ugly character, I was like I kind of thought that the bad character was kind of cool in comparison. Where I was like, I want more about that guy.
Yeah.
He's such a badass cowboy, and I was like, but that's again, like I said, that was just my perspective of it all. But anyways, this has been a long episode.
Grade A, I would say.
A great episode. And anything else you guys want to touch on before we?
I guess as a future Western, a fistful of dollars would be cool.
Oh, yes. Definitely. Now,
It's also Clint Eastwood, so
Cool. Again, I
got
haven't
my seal of approval.
I
haven't seen any of them, so
I can't remember much about it besides one iconic scene. So I mean, it'd be great to rewatch it anyways.
cool. Well, maybe we'll put that on the list next time.
I really want to watch one of my Akira Kurosawa films.
Those
I've
like
had sitting
the
around.
samurai movies.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, those are also very long.
May I say as well, the thing I thought was weird about this film was that it all felt like it was. I don't know what I don't know what the acronym stands for. ADR.
Oh, I see.
I don't. Hold on. Let's see. Film. Automated dialogue replacement. I knew the acronym, but I forgot what it stood for.
Right.
The whole film felt like I was at certain points in time. It felt like I was watching a
like a dubbed film.
I noticed that too.
Some
a
of the
little bit.
characters looked like they were speaking a different language.
Yeah.
which I think supposedly some of them were.
Yeah.
So I think that, but even the characters that were speaking English, I think what they did was they just ADR'd. They like mastered the audio, or like they did the audio in post is what kind of what you do, and layered it over the whole film. So even like the characters that, now this may be like a remaster problem,
Right.
Like we have I think a modern Blu-ray version of it or something, or a modern DVD that may have like quote unquote remastered the audio.
Right.
But it was just like, it was weird because at certain points in time, it was almost like I was watching like a samurai film, or like something,
Right.
where it's like they're speaking a different language, like their mouth is moving, but like none of the words are syncing with what they're saying.
Yeah.
Even the English speakers, like sometimes their lips would move and say the right words that were being said or being heard.
But it would just be a little bit off.
And sometimes, like, because we didn't have any subtitles, which I didn't think about that until after we were done with it, I was like, I think I would have also understood it better with some subtitles.
Yeah,
because
some lines, like depending on who's speaking, are a little like too quiet or just don't come
they're
through.
they're too quiet, but they also are Western,
Right.
So they kind of have like a little bit of an accent that they kind of talk in. That I was like, I missed what he said.
Say again.
Yeah. There was a couple
He
times
did
I
what
was
now?
like that too.
Right.
So again, anyways, but talk about your samurai films. They are long. But
So I've got Sanjuro, Yojimbo, and Seven Samurai. Those are the only three of his movies that I own,
okay,
and all three of which I have been wanting to watch for God knows how long.
Have you seen him before?
No. I haven't yet.
what the hell?
No, I'm serious. I've always heard about his films and how good they are, but I've never watched one. I only just recently got a hold of them because they had them at the Criterion collection at like a Barnes & Noble. So I decided to go ahead and pick them up, but I have not watched them yet.
Are we talking like 3 hours long? Oh
I
yikes.
think so.
Ooh, man.
I'm not sure. I'm going to have to double check.
Okay.
But they're good.
Okay.
Like
Hopefully they'll-
pretty unanimously, I'd say.
I'd imagine.
You think they're probably up there with like Parasite, maybe?
Maybe. These are like old.
I mean,
samurai
Parasite's
films.
good. Like that's
I think it fits in the same criteria of like old Western films. Like
Gotcha.
it has
right.
a
Like
same
Parasite
vibe.
is a really good like Korean modern film.
Yeah.
As far as like exposure to Korean films, it's like next to nothing. Like
Yeah.
that's one of the only ones I've seen, I'm pretty sure.
Aren't some of those old samurai films in black and white?
Yes.
Okay, are those some of those? Or-
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we're talking like old stuff.
Oh, yeah,
but-
old school.
I do know there's one called Train to I forget the place, but it's Train to Something. It's like a Korean zombie one, but it's supposedly really good.
Oh yeah, I have heard about that one.
Bosan?
It's something similar.
No,
to
it's
that.
a Train to Narnia. I'm playing. Yeah, I never heard of it, but
Yeah, it's
I've
supposed
heard
to be
good
really
things
good.
about that one.
Yeah.
as
You
long
know
as
how
it,
I am about zombie flicks, we have yet to do one other than like maybe Army of Darkness. There are zombies in that one.
what was that one?
Zombieland.
What was that one where we did one for like the Halloween month a few years back? The It Lives, or I want to call it, or no, which one? They Live or whatever it is. It's not zombie.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah. Oh God.
That's not a zombie, but it kind of feels
Is
it's
that
like
the
the
one-
mindless
Alien Invasion,
Alien
yeah.
invasion.
Is that
kind
the
of
one
thing?
where the guy's screeching?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
God.
Scary.
Blood curdling.
Yeah.
Or the one
You
with the
talk
glasses.
about interesting endings.
Uh-huh.
Kind of you don't know what's real or what's what and what's not.
or the one with the,
I actually have chills right now.
Yeah, it's
this movie
creepy.
scares the shit out of me.
It's scary.
But
or the one with the black and white glasses. I can't think of the name. Where if you look at a sign, it'll say "consume."
yeah, that's They Live.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
That one's pretty good.
Yeah. that one's funny.
Yeah,
that's a good.
Earth is a timeshare.
Yeah.
Where the
We're
glasses?
so tired for
Put
it.
on the glasses.
Right, just put on the
Yeah.
glasses.
No.
Oh man, that was great.
5-minute fight about them trying to get put on glasses.
Funny.
As long as those samurai movies are not like significantly over 3 hours, I think it's probably fine. But
Yeah.
if they're around that, it's probably not that bad.
5 hours.
If it's like 2 hours 30, or touching on 3 hours, that's fine.
Right. Even still, I do still want to watch them with y'all. We don't have
Yeah.
to record like immediately after.
Right.
Yeah.
But just that we've been able to watch them would be
Of
enough
course.
for me.
With a little intermission halfway
Right.
through.
Like we did for Back to the Future.
Yeah. Oh
that was
my
in
gosh.
one sitting though. We did all three of them.
We did all three of them. I think we did separate days.
Did
But
we?
Yeah. I
I could
edited
have
them.
sworn it was all on the same day.
I edited them all together to feel like they were all, but I think we did 3 separate days. Or
No.
2 separate days. Yeah.
No. It had to.
Yeah. I think we only watched like 2 in one sitting. I think, but we had 3 different recording sessions because I remember I
Right, we
specifically
finished
pulled
one,
up
then recorded, then we watched the other, and then recorded.
right, and I think
could've sworn we did all
the third day I think we did a separate day.
Okay,
I could be wrong, but
maybe.
I can look at the files later,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter.
Right.
But yeah,
God, that was fun.
it's crazy.
But yeah, I think
how's-
that's about all I've touched on.
Speaking of like going back and kind of like talking about other movies we've watched already, again, we all are kind of dabbling in Helldivers too, like we've talked about on the podcast here at the end of the show a lot.
Right.
That new War Bond that's coming out like literally in like a week or so is a very, I would say, 80s action movie heavy, what
Yes,
it feels
very
like.
much so.
And there's a lot of references to Predator.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it. I was like, man, it's been a minute since we watched Predator again.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to watch that
Oh,
again.
Dude, I'm always down.
There's an emote called the Test of Conviction, and it's the Arnold Schwarzenegger. I can't remember the other actor's name. The black guy that but they both are jacked, and they have like the iconic handshake where they whoopsh, and they grab each other's hands. And they're just like flexing so hard, and their muscles are glistening.
I can't remember his name either. He played like recently a character.
Johnson,
in the
you son of a bitch.
Right, his name's Dylan in the movie.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Right.
Man, I wonder how you're able to remember that so well.
Yeah, beats me. I don't know. He was a cool dude.
Cool guy.
Right.
I don't remember what his name
It's
is.
gonna kick me in the teeth as soon as you say it. I swear.
I do remember I was talking to
Carl Weathers.
Yes.
Yeah. Dylan.
Damn.
Oh yeah, he. No, I forgot.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I think he passed away recently.
Yeah.
Bummer. Yeah, 2024. Gosh.
How old
He,
was he?
Was
he not very old?
No, well, he was born in 1948, so I think probably in his 60s, 70s.
Yeah, that's not. I still don't count
he,
that as super old.
He played in The Mandalorian.
Mhm.
He played.
Yeah.
He played the guy who got shot in the chest, but had the
Beskar.
Beskar stuff on him. Can't remember what.
Damn.
Griff.
So he was
Griff
acting
Karga.
all the way up to the end.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Super cool guy.
Man, that sucks.
Yeah. How unfortunate. R.I.P. Carl Weathers.
But yeah.
Yeah, because I think my coworker said he played in Rocky
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
with the
76 is when he passed away.
hmm.
Or how old he was.
Oh.
Sorry. He passed away on February 1st of this year
Damn.
at the age of 76. So, yeah. Born in New Orleans.
Oh, wow.
You can
Wow,
imagine
really?
that. Yeah.
Huh.
We,
Damn.
Yeah.
Close to home.
Yeah. Close to home. And, yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, he played in Predator, played in the original Rocky, apparently played in Happy Gilmore. Actually, he played in almost, I think, all the Rockies. I see
Yeah, just about.
3, 4, 2, 1, Creed.
Mm-hmm. Apollo.
Yeah, so. But anyways,
Mm-hmm.
just want to talk about that because that's you talk about, like I said, like I mentioned, we talk about potentially
Right.
watching movies we've watched for the podcast, and I was like, I saw that emote and I was like, oh yeah, I love the meme too of just the two hands and
Oh,
Yeah.
specifically Arnold Schwarzenegger is just like glistening bicep
Right.
while he's they're holding it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a new emote and I'm super excited about that, and it's
Perfect.
exactly a bunch of other cool stuff. I can't wait for the triple barrel shotgun
Oh, yeah.
pistol.
It's gonna be so nice.
I can be freaking Vincent Valentine again.
Man.
So, anyways, but yeah, we like I said,
She'd be Cerberus on the dirge.
she'd be dirging
Till I
on my-
Dylan's scaring me.
yeah. She'd be
You know what,
dirging on my
Chase? Good.
Cerberus until I Valentine.
Who up? No,
I'm not.
No. Let's just end it.
Okay. As I've said in the past, I have really been loving the interactions on YouTube. Makes me really happy. We got our main guy.
All right,
over
you know
there.
who you are.
I mean, he's making me crack up, dude. Every comment has been hilarious, and I love it. If you go into YouTube, in the search bar, you can type in @Hindsight Studios, and you can find or you can just type in on like the URL youtube.com/@Hindsight Studios and find the page. Subscribe, give us a like, go ahead and comment, hop down in the comments with me and our main man over there who's cracking jokes with the two of us. Also, Ethan's kind of been hopping in there. I'm trying to convince Dylan to probably drop a comment in there just so we can have a conversation, but I don't think he's down for it. So again, you can talk to him through me. I'm his gatekeeper.
Right.
You can't talk to
portal.
Don't talk to me or my son ever again. But anyways, I would love and appreciate if you guys could subscribe and like those videos and all that kind of stuff because it really means a lot. And
Should you so choose.
should you so choose, I appreciate it. But also you can find us on all the platforms. If you have a specific platform you care about, do that. I also forgot. Apparently, our hosting service is allowing you to be able to text us with something
God.
called, it's a new fan mail system.
Yeah.
And I kind
Forgot
of,
about that.
I tested it a little bit. I'm not sure what all of it involves. I don't know what it means, but in the top of the description, you can send us a text message. So if you don't want to copy or you don't want to comment on the videos directly, I think if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any of the major platforms, in the description, you should be able to send us a text message and it'll go straight to me, which is awesome. Interesting. So if you guys have any suggestions, you give any comments, you want to say some nice things about how cool we are, I'm there.
Or some not so nice.
No. Don't even think about that. Who has? There's no such thing as not nice things about.
Yeah, definitely not.
I mean, somebody's gonna find.
We're
something.
only cool, swell guys, and there's no need to be mean. I may have opinions, but
There's never a need, but someone will want
And it's
to.
like, well, and guess what? They can go somewhere.
Right? Who cares?
You don't gotta listen. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for commenting and liking and subscribing and being a part of this fun journey that we're on. It's been really fun.
Yeah.
And until next time,
See ya.
Oh, yeah, bye.
Fucking.